This from Algebra 1, although I know that's a long time ago. We probably spent like 2 days on it in Algebra 1 or something. The formula, we are going to have this memorized by the time the test rolls around, by the way. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Yeah. It's to the two notes pop goes away. Okay, so we do need to get this in our head. It's not as hard as it seems, because after you do this like 20 times like we're going to do, it kind of starts to stick in your head a little easier, the formula. But yeah, you guys will need to know this. It'll be one of those things where you'll have to put it at the top of your test, like it'll be question number 1, and then I'll check it, and then you can use it on there.
And if you don't remember it, do you get it wrong?
Yeah.
What do you think? Dummy.
But what did all these A's, B's, and C's stand for? All that
Probably
business.
for some very important.
Well, let's look at number 1 and figure it out. Number 1, x squared plus x minus 2. So this problem, and few of these problems actually do factor. So if they don't tell you what to do, you can do factoring, but we're going to use it to practice quadratic formula. Some problems do not factor. Not all numbers multiply out well. So if factoring doesn't work, quadratic formula always works. Or even if you're bad at factoring, quadratic formula could save you. Because quadratic formula works on every quadratic equation. What is a quadratic equation? Maybe I need to define that. You guys know? Okay, it's an equation with an x squared in it. It's kind of what this chapter is about.
Does it have to be x?
No, it could be like y squared or whatever. Whatever the variable is, if there's a squared one, it's a quadratic. So like in chapter 2, we just solved like basic equations like this. Okay, that's just a linear equation, I guess you could say. It's just basic. But this chapter, we've been doing x squared. We did factoring yesterday. We did completing the square. We're going to spend 1 day on that. But quadratic formulas overall the most efficient way, probably. Okay, A, B's, and C's. So the numbers on the front of each term are called coefficients. So the A, B, and C stands for the coefficient. What's the coefficient for this first term? 1. Negative 2. If it's a minus, make it negative. So this is just our A, B, and C for number 1. So if I plug this in, negative b is going to be negative 1. B squared is going to be 1 squared. Here's the thing. This is where things can go wrong. Because what if b had been negative? And I put a negative right there. You guys know what the problem is with that? Right, the negative should be, we're supposed to square all of b, so the negative should be squared. So if you're going to put this in the calculator, you're either going to need to do this in your head, this part, or you're going to have to use parentheses. Because anything squared should come out positive. If you don't put parentheses, you might get it wrong. But if it's already positive, it doesn't really matter, because it's going to come out positive 1 either way. Alright, so minus 4 times A times C all over 2 times A. Okay, can we put all this in the calculator? Kind of. There's an issue though.
Why does that one have a minus?
Yeah, because there's a negative b right there. Alright, well, we can't put plus or minus in the calculator, so what could we do?
Do both.
Yeah, first time do plus, second time do minus. Now, do you have to retype everything in both times? Because that's kind of a lot.
Yes.
No. What's the easier way to do it? Let me borrow somebody's calculator. Yours is too simple. I don't know if yours will do it or not. Let's see.
That's why I went to
Why don't you say that for us?
It's really old.
Yeah, okay. So Casio's, most calculators So if I do like 7 plus 8 equals, and it says 15, but what if I want to do 7 plus 9? Do I have to type it all in again? No. You just go hit the back arrow, and the cursor goes up here next to 8. Then there's a delete button right next to the all clear button. So I can delete the 8 and replace it with the 9 or whatever.
Oh.
That changes my life.
Yeah, I would've known
That changes my life.
Yeah, so that'll save you a lot of button pushes. You'll have to hit the back arrow all the way over here and change your plus into a minus. So you get 2 answers.
Wow. That's crazy.
Should I be ugly?
Alright,
That's Rudy.
this is why she has bangs. It's on you, Hope. Okay,
She was even worse.
so right here, if I do this in my head, like -4 times -2 is positive 8, times 1 doesn't really do anything. So 1 plus 8 is 9. What's the square root of 9? 3. So it's not, maybe a little bit tricky to do without a calculator, but really most of the work is going on right here. That's like where everything's happening, where you would get it wrong if you get it wrong. So, but we got to go ahead and finish this since this you can simplify this. What's -1 plus 3 divided by 2?
1.
And -1 minus 3, -4 divided by 2. Okay, so just like yesterday's, it's got a couple answers. Normally, almost always, a quadratic equation should have 2 answers.
Is there some exception?
Yes, there is a rare exception.
So we don't have to show our work because our calculator did it, right?
No, I do want you to write something down.
Yeah, come on.
You can write this down and then just put equals the answer.
Oh, okay.
Stupid, ugly Asian.
Yo.
Okay, girl. No.
Yeah, you guys are so.
You're gonna have to insult each other on your own time. Okay, Shannon, what's the A, B, and C on number 3? Right, you guys see where she got that?
Oh.
Okay, so you guys remember the formula yet? I know it's fast.
Yes, I do.
Negative.
Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over. Forgot the wrong part. I forgot.
Were you reading it?
No.
Yeah, what was it?
Okay.
I just forgot the phone.
In years past, people get it wrong on the test because they only write that or something like that. So I don't remember how they put it exactly, but you need to make sure this division bar is all the way. Okay, so negative b would be -2. Now you could plug that in the calculator, or what else could you just put? 2. Plus or minus the square root. Okay, -2 squared. You could either use parentheses, I'm right here, or you could just say, well, what's -2 squared? 4. That would save you some time, right? If you use your head a little bit, makes it a little easier. If you're not sure, I guess you can just plug it on. A is 1, multiplying by 1 doesn't really do anything. C is -63. 2 times A. Okay. I kind of remember this from the other class. This comes out as 256, and the square root of 256 is 16.
Do you also have to write that part, that 2 plus 4?
No, you don't have to do that. If you're doing the calculator, it'll just skip straight to the answer. However, some of these answers today will be imaginary, and unless you have the white calculators, they won't be able to do that.
How do you even do imaginary numbers?
Well, you're not actually plugging, there is a button for an I, but you're not actually plugging I in on that calculator. It's just,
I see it.
it's just gonna give you the answer as I. Anyway, we'll figure that out later. So, what's 2 plus 16 is 18 divided by 2. 9. 2 minus 16 is -14 divided by 2. It's, in a way, this assignment's easy because all you're doing is plugging in numbers, but if you like get one little negative wrong or something, it's gonna screw up your whole thing.
At least it's not.
Get one little number wrong, and it all goes wrong. Okay, Hope, what's the A, B, and C on 5?
5. It is 3, so negative 16.
Negative 2.
I was like,
There's a C.
stupid girl.
Okay, enough. Okay, so negative B is negative 2 again, so it's 2. Plus or minus. Square root B squared. I guess I'll go ahead and write it all down. Minus 4 times A times C over 2 times A. I don't know, do I remember this one? 64 times 3 is 196. I think it comes out, the square root part comes out as 14 on this one. Alright, so 2 plus 14, 16, divided by 6. Doesn't divide well, but it reduces to 8/3. 2 minus 14 is negative 12, divided by 6 is negative 2. How about this? Why don't you guys, I'll give you like a minute head start. Why don't you guys try to get number 7 before I do? Mark said go.
I'm nervous.
Got it.
I think I'm gonna play. Well, you're not giving us a head start. Just go in. Please. What song am I on?
No, they're all.
Please help me. Sorry.
Yes. Fractions start on number 4. Square root answers start on number 8.
What's the formula?
Bro.
For time, bro. Dude. I feel autistic.
I don't think it's just
Minor?
a feeling.
Don't make me major you.
What?
Yeah. Nice thing. Are you
Oh,
okay,
yes.
Eli? Are you off the meds?
Yes.
No.
Oh.
Man, this is hard. What was the day? I'm not doing well in life. There's gonna be so much writing on this page, I feel bad.
Yeah, this page like you're crying.
Brayden,
Yep.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are there facts with the printer?
Yes.
Does it come included?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Alright, did I beat you?
No.
Yeah. I'm still working it out.
Didn't get that. Okay, do you still have it in your calculator?
I got a square root of 7. I think I did something wrong along the way.
Well, you forgot the division part.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Stop talking to me.
But yeah, everything else is really. So if, here, I'll just put back.
Did I do this wrong, Forrest?
Probably.
I got the square root of 7.
Fraction button.
What?
There. Alright, let me do that.
Did you also get this?
No.
What did you get? I put in all the right things.
Bro, which one am I on?
Number 7.
Well,
Yeah, what did you get for it?
Here's the easiest way to do it. Just start with the practice.
Dude, it's only horribly wrong, and I'm so nervous with this work now, dude.
You promise. I'm not
I'm trying to do number 2. I've never done.
I can't, what did you get through number 7? Like the square root.
Number 7
Yeah.
It's true.
for the square root.
I got the square root of 7.
You got 11.
I don't know, I just plugged it in the calculator.
What did you get?
Here.
Look at my gosh, dude. I don't know what
Okay, I'll do
it is.
square
11
root
is
of
the
25.
whole answer, it's not the square.
Wait, the square root of 25?
Yeah, it's.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was doing this because I was.
You said like they did from across the door.
Calculator is
so funny. It was this little white dog running down the hill.
Oh, yeah.
It's
But I got
So,
first.
and its head.
So the easiest way to.
4 plus 2, bro. 5 autistic. Dog.
You saw it, and its head was like.
Show it to my barber.
And then it like left the door.
Right.
It was so bad. And it was
Not
so
okay, dude. I'm so mad at her.
Thank you.
I'm messing up on the grades.
Okay, anybody else need? Anybody else not get this? Let's put it that way.
Nah, we get that.
Yeah,
Hope you good? Ava?
I'm
You
crying.
didn't
I'm
even
crying.
ask me. You do not care.
Well,
He just assumed you would have got it
yeah, let's go with that.
Maybe he was like,
right.
I didn't, there's also like 10 other people in the class I didn't ask, but Issa was offended.
Yeah, but you specifically skipped over me. She's a hoe.
I don't think
Specifically.
it is.
Yeah, but he already asked. You-
I just don't
you
think
guys
he
already
noticed you.
went through it. Skipped over me.
It's all about you. It's all about you,
Did I finish or did I miss?
Issa.
Brayden, are you a minor?
Yep.
Are you mining at
I
the moment?
know.
What?
Okay,
The entire sound.
that was number 7. Number 9. A 7, 1, and negative 1.
Negative. Change the E.
I just remembered, they become imaginary at number 10,
Thank you.
like 10, 11. So if you don't have a special calculator, I'll talk about how to do that here in a second. If you don't have a white calculator, it'll say error, so you have to do something
If
special.
it's blue, is it okay?
I said if you don't have a white calculator, so
Are all the ones like? Oh, dude, Tim, yours is gonna be incredible. Yours is gonna be the opposite. It's hard work. It works out. By that I mean.
all right. So number 9, the square root doesn't simplify. That probably is the same on number 8. So yeah, it just goes like that.
So that's just the answer.
Yeah, it's like yesterday. If you get a square root, you can't really.
Isn't there a second answer?
This is 2 answers because one is a plus and one's a minus. It's like 2 separate things. Like it represents that, and it represents that. But does that make sense? This is 2 answers. This is actually 2 numbers. It's kind of like when you put plus or minus 3. That's actually 2 answers. Okay. All right, yeah, guys, listen. If you put a plus in only, it'll spit this out, right? Now, do you need to go back and put the minus in? Not really. It'll just spit that out. So if it's a square root answer, all you have to do is do it once and put a plus minus right there. If you put the minus in, it'll say almost the exact same thing.
I just got 17 instead of 29 for the minus.
Oh, well, it should be identical. Because this doesn't change at all. So that means you changed the number somehow.
Minor. You do that? Can
Okay, 11. This is going to be imaginary. 4, -3, and 2. Okay, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, the problem is on 10, 11, and some of the other ones, in the square root we're going to get a negative. This was 9 minus 32, it's like negative 23. Okay, if you plug it in your calculator will say error, unless you're special. Okay, so you guys remember last week, how did we handle the square roots that were negative last week? Okay, if you don't have a calculator that can do it, what you should have done last week was plugged in square root, like this is an example. If it says square root of negative 40, you just plug that in your calculator. And then what do we do with the negative? Put 9. So this is like 2 squared root of 10, so it changes to 2i squared root of 10. So you might not be able to tell whether this is going to be imaginary or not. So you just kind of have to figure it out one way or the other. If it says error, that's because it's a negative. You'll have to go back and so what you'd have to do, like on this problem, 11, is you'd have to go back and do this stuff without the square root. So just get rid of the square root. It'll spit out negative 23. And you can't plug a square root in with that. So you just plug in square root of 23, which won't do anything. And then you put the I in it. Does that make sense?
Yup.
Or, yeah.
So, would the I come before it?
Yeah, if it's a square, your calculators kind of screw up on square roots because it only has one place on the calculator that can actually write an I, so it always puts it at the end. But technically it's supposed to go before the square root. Now, here's the thing though. Since there's a divisor, they don't really want this written as one big thing. When it's a complex number like this, they want it split up. So really on 10 and 11, we're supposed to split this. So this is 3/8 plus or minus square root of 23/8. And in this case, if there's a fraction, you can't actually put the I right there. Does that make sense? So on number 10, you're going to have to do, unless you should be good if you got the whites. If you don't have a white, you're going to have to plug this in without the square root by itself and then kind of do that individually. I think we're just going to go to like 16 today because the other class we didn't get very far.
So is it gonna be organic more tomorrow?
Yeah, I might add on a little tomorrow. The bottom is kind of messy, but it's pretty much the same thing. Alright, 13. So I'll do a couple more. What's wrong with 13? Yeah, it's not set up like number 1 was. Like everything should be on one side equal to 0. So what should I do to fix it? Yeah. We could have everything on one side if we just add this guy over here. And order does matter. Because the first term is the A, then the B, and the C. So anyway, the coefficients are 5, 1, and 1. So, negative b. I don't know if this one's imaginary or not, we'll see. Negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Kind of missed there. Alright. I can tell this is going to be imaginary. You guys know how I can tell?
It looks fake.
This is like 1 minus 20. That's going to be negative. So what is 1 minus 20, by the way? So that's not gonna work in most calculators. But all I have to do is change it to, square root of 19 doesn't simplify as prime. But I'm just gonna change that to I squared root of 19. And that's pretty much the answer though. I mean, once you get it, there's not a lot to do. Okay, however, 10 is on the bottom, but what did I say about that? If it's imaginary, I want you to split it up. So this is negative 1 over 10 plus or minus square root of 19 over 10.
Yippee. I have fake numbers.
Yeah. Alright, is 15 imaginary?
It's fake.
Let's find out.
Dude, this is like if it's cake or fake. Just like that. Is it fake? Or is it
Ava,
cake? Roman's cakes.
what's the A, B, and C gonna be on 15?
Just kidding.
It's a slight trick question.
The A will be 2,
Yes.
the B will be 3,
Yep.
the C will be -1.
Right. You guys see where she got that from? So they put it out of order. They're trying to trick us. A is on the x squared. So she said A is 2. She said B is 3. And because 4 is on the wrong side, C is actually -4. So she passed the little test there. So negative B plus or minus square root B squared or AC 2A. Alright, this is gonna be not imaginary. I can tell because a negative times negative is positive. So anyway, let's see, what is that? 9 plus 32, 41?
Yeah.
41 does not, it's prime, it doesn't really have a good square root simplify. So that's actually the easiest kind because we don't have to split it or anything. Yep.
Wait, why don't we have to simplify it?
Well, there's nothing we can do. The square root of 41 doesn't do anything.
Why don't we
There's
simplify
nothing.
Technically, you could split it up into 2. They really only want you to do that when it's imaginary because they want the real and the imaginary like separate. But if it's real, you can just keep it all together.
Real.
It's real.
Israel?